You think you're being generous. Your brain reads something else. Every yes you give without being asked erases you a little more. There's a specific hurt in being the reliable one and still being the one nobody remembers. Your phone buzzes on the desk. You answer in 10 seconds, like you always do. 3 days later, a different message. You answer just as fast. Only one of those moments makes it into anyone's memory. It's never the fast one, because attention decided which one mattered before memory ever got a vote. You've done this without meaning to. Decided in half a second that someone wasn't worth a reply right now. There's a filter running in your head right now, sorting everyone you know into 2 piles: worth noticing and background noise. It's not sorting by how much someone deserves your attention. It often favors what feels rare. That filter doesn't stop at other people. It's running on you too. You're not underappreciated. You're overexposed, not a shortage, an oversupply. There's a particular kind of attention reserved only for what you can't predict. Long before cities, long before language. Picture someone checking the same stretch of river every morning, not because it's usually full, but because there's no way to know in advance. That unease, the checking, the refusal to look away. That's not about rarity. It's about uncertainty. And uncertainty runs deeper than scarcity ever did. At some point, you went from being a surprise to being a given. And neither you nor anyone around you can point to the exact day it happened. That's not just psychological, it's chemical. Neuroscientists call it reward prediction error. A reward that becomes predictable stops firing the circuit that made it feel good in the first place. The first message lit something up. The 50th didn't. Not just yours, everyone's. And dopamine isn't the whole story. There's a bigger pattern running underneath it. You gave more, and somehow it counted for less. That's the part that doesn't sit right. By simple math, more contact should mean more value. It doesn't. The brain isn't running a ledger here. It's running a filter. And filters don't count. They select. You know the feeling of being scrolled past, technically seen, functionally invisible. A single canvas, behind glass, in a quiet room, draws a longer line than 10,000 identical images scrolling past on a screen. The canvas didn't change. What changed is how much competition it had for a place in someone's attention. So what is actually being measured when someone pays attention to you? Not your worth, your frequency. Someone spends a decade being the reliable one, the friend who always calls back, the partner who never needs convincing to show up. At the 10th birthday dinner they helped plan, no one thinks to thank them. Not because they weren't valued, because reliability had quietly stopped registering as a gift and started registering as weather. There's a specific kind of tired that has no obvious cause. You didn't do anything hard. You just answered everyone, all day, the way you always do. Think of attention the way a bank thinks of currency it issues without limit. Every reply is a withdrawal. Every unnecessary conversation, another one. Nobody watches the balance until it reads 0. At some point, something that used to feel extraordinary just stopped landing, and you couldn't say exactly when. There's a well-documented pattern behind that: hedonic adaptation. Give someone the same good thing on a predictable schedule, and their baseline for good quietly moves to include it. A gift that felt extraordinary the first year can feel unremarkable by the fifth. Nothing about the gift changed. The baseline did. There's a reason it stings to be dismissed by someone you barely try to impress, while someone who works less than you gets believed instantly. Economists have a term for this: costly signaling. A signal only carries information if it's expensive enough that it can't be faked. That's why job markets still reward hard-to-obtain credentials over cheap, self-reported claims. Not because the credential itself does the work, but because only a genuine candidate could afford what it costs to get. Immediate availability is a cheap signal. It costs nothing to produce, so it proves nothing. A boundary is expensive, in time, in opportunity, sometimes in the relationship itself. That expense is exactly what makes it believable. Somewhere in you is a quiet worry. When you pull back from people, is that strength or just another performance? There are two ways to become hard to reach. One disappears to create leverage, a calculated absence designed to be noticed. The other simply has a limited supply of attention and spends it on purpose. From the outside, they can look identical. From the inside, only one of them is honest. Somewhere, a version of you has been sounding the alarm so consistently that the people who love you have stopped hearing it as an alarm at all. Hospitals have a documented name for this: alarm fatigue. When monitors sound too often, staff don't get more vigilant. They get less. Response time slow. Some alarms get silenced altogether. Not from carelessness, but because a nervous system can only treat so many signals as urgent before it stops treating any of them that way. The same wiring that's supposed to keep a patient alive is the wiring deciding, right now, how much attention you deserve. Everything up to this point has been about how other people see you. There's a second version of this happening that has nothing to do with them. It's happening inside the part of your own mind that decided, a long time ago, what counts as worth paying attention to at all. By now, you've felt this happening without being able to name it. The exact moment something stopped registering as anything at all. There's a name for this, and it comes from two psychologists, Daniel Kahneman and Amos Tversky. They found that the mind doesn't calculate how common, important, or valuable something is. It substitutes a shortcut. Whatever comes to mind most easily gets judged as more frequent, more likely, more real. They called it the availability heuristic. But availability was never one thing. It's the output of several forces at once. Every example in this film, the painting, the gift, the credential, the hospital alarm, was the same question, asked in a different room. What does it take for something to become available to a mind that can't hold everything at once? Rarity made things available. Uncertainty made things available. A broken prediction made things available. A believable signal made things available. Predictability doesn't. A mind that cannot process everything stops making room for what it already expects. And what it stops making room for stops being available at all, which means this hasn't been six ideas. It's been one system, deciding one thing: what gets to stay available in a mind that can't hold everything. The mind doesn't keep making room for what it's already filed away. And for most of your life, you've been the thing your own mind finished filing a long time ago. You've spent this film learning how a mind decides what's real. Here's the part that isn't comfortable. Yours has been running the same test on you the entire time. Every time you made yourself easy to retrieve, some part of your own mind quietly filed the result: available, and no longer worth a second look. You didn't lose value because of what anyone else decided. You lost it because you kept handing your own mind the same answer, and your mind believed you. You didn't build a wall around your time. You built a door that never closes, and a door that never closes stops registering as an entrance. It just becomes part of the hallway. There's something almost cruel about this. The harder you work to stay reachable, the easier you become to overlook. The more deliberately you limit your own access, the more your presence starts to register as signal instead of noise. Who stopped reaching out to you first, and how long did it take you to notice? Most people can't answer that quickly. The goal was never invisibility. It was never distance for its own sake, or coldness mistaken for depth. The goal is to stop being endlessly available and to let your attention go only where it will actually be noticed. Everything endlessly available gets ignored. Everything that has to be sought out gets remembered. For most of your life, you made yourself impossible to miss and easy to forget. Become difficult to interrupt, not difficult to respect.